morning, wonderful people. Hi, it's been a while. Every time I say it's been a while, it's honestly been a week or so. But because I just enjoy recording my episodes when I don't do it constantly, I feel like it's been a while. So yeah, it's been a while. Um Welcome back. Thank you for checking me out again. Thank you. I am enjoying the small growth that I am receiving. Um, Spotify sent me my impressions, and I didn't even know I was doing that well. So thank you guys for checking me out. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for adding me to your follow pages. I don't even know how that works because I'm not really like techie like that, but thank you. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I've been sick. I feel like this season has been a bit hard because I'm going in and out of just not feeling well. So my nose is stuffy. I feel awful. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'm recording this on the 29th of October, and my birthday is the 30th of October. So I'm gonna be recording a lot of episodes today because I want to get things in because I'm going to go back to work on Tuesday, and I don't know if I will have time to record new episodes during the week. So since I'm here, it's quiet. I am in New York, one of my favorite cities in the world. I just thought, let me record a bunch of episodes and we start from there, right? So in this one, I want I wanted to talk about A Dream from My Father. I don't know if you ever read that book by Barack Obama. It's one of my favorite book. I got to read it when I was in college. For my Africana Studies class, I read A Dream from My Father. And although Obama was talking about his relationship being a mixed race child, I always felt connected to that book because of the absentee father and just being a kid that grew up in different cultures. Like I said, like both of my parents are from the Congo, but my father is Luba, my mother is Swahili, two different ethnic group. So different way of thinking, different way of doing things. Me not being born or raised in the Congo, like always moving around since I was a child, not really having a place to call home, dealing with multiple identity constructions and society imposed behavior that I should have as a Congolese person, as a kid, as a woman, as a black woman, as a diplomat or whatever. So I always really felt connected to these books because I understand the multiculturalism, the multicultural identities, and the identity negotiation that he had to go through because it's sort of similar to what I've had to go through. So that's why I was gonna name this episode actually A Dream for My Father, right? Because growing up with my dad, like it's funny because tomorrow I'm gonna be 26, and when I am reflecting on my life, my dad was not present. Like my dad was not emotionally present. Like when we were younger, we saw him once in a blue moon, right? We lived in a refugee camp in a remote place, and he lived in the city. And like he would come on the weekends every 2 to 3 months. He wasn't like a constant presence in our lives. And he would send money because he used to work, like my dad is a chemist, he was a professor. And he would work, and first of all, professors in Africa doesn't get like, yes, it's true, teachers in America doesn't get paid well, but professors in Africa do not get paid well. Some of them go months without getting paid. But even with that, when he got paid, there were instances where he would send us money. Like let's say he would send us money on Friday. Like on Sunday he's gonna call to ask for some of the money back. You know, he's gonna be like, well, I have this, I have that, I have to pay rent, I have to do this, blah 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 blah. Like, send me back the money, or send me like 90% of the money, you know. So, and when he came, and it's so funny because Luba men are very, and I don't, some of my generation still possess this behavior, but my father's generation are very like, they can never be wrong. They can never be wrong. They're right all the time, regardless of how bad they they hurt you, regardless of what they do to you, because they are the man, because they are your father. Like when they come and are being authoritarian, you have to listen. And that was always as that to, and I feel like God just made me in certain ways where I was just like, my discernment could not understand that, right? It was like, you don't live with us, we barely see you, you're barely financially um like you barely take care of us financially, but when you come you're very authoritarian, like you're imposing your rule as if you have the right to, you know what I mean? It's like, it was just so weird. It was just like, as a kid you're just like, this is weird, right? It was weird. So when we moved to the United States, and that was like the first time we had to live with our dad 24/7. That was sort of the first time we had to live as a family of four, because when we were a kid, we only saw him once in a while. Like he came Friday, he left on Sundays. Sometimes he came Friday, he left Saturday morning, like every 2 to 3 months. So there was never a time where we were like, maybe when I used to go to see him during summer break, like for a week or 2 weeks, maybe that's when I had like, but even with that, like he was always like out running with like some girls and everything. So to think about having a present father, like I would not characterize my father as ever being present, like present in my life in a loving, endearing type of way. But I know that in his way, in his messed up way of thinking, of doing things, of what he was taught, of what being a man is, he loved me, specifically me, right? I knew that my dad wanted to have a girl, like, which is very interesting because Luba men favor boys, right? But for my dad wanted a girl. And not only that, my dad was very supportive of my education. That I can give him that. Like, even on the off chance when we got to see him, it was always, how are you doing at school? Show me your notes. He would go to my school if he stayed past Sunday. He would go to my school on a Monday to ask my teachers, how is she doing? What are ways we can help her? My dad was my tutor, which is great, but listen, African are not equipped to be tutors, because your tutor is supposed to help you. Africans, father specifically, Congolese father, first of all, Luba father specifically, they don't. I'm sure there's a lot of videos on YouTube or on TikTok where you can find the way African parents like cheat you at home. Oh my lord, like that shit is traumatizing. Like I remember, like I used to do my own homework. Like I think I forced myself to be super smart so that I don't have to deal, so that my father doesn't like have to tutor me or have to go to the lesson with me. So like it came to a point where like I would put so much effort to make sure my notes were great. I had good grades, I had done my homework and everything. So that when I came home and I saw him, like I would just give him the notes and he would just be like, he would read through it and be like, oh okay. So you understand, and he would ask me 1 or 2 questions and go about his day, you know? Because if you were like, if you had, God forbid, you tell that man, oh, I don't understand, it would be one simple question. Like it can be like 2 plus 2. I promise you, that man have a way to lecture you for 4 hours on 2 plus 2 and make you feel stupid during that 4 hours. So no, 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 no. So yeah, so but one thing I can give him, my father was very big on education and he was very big on me being educated, which is also again time have changed, true, but culturally, the way it's meant to be, like, Luba men were not very favorable to their daughters having an education. Like, I can think about my maternal grandmother. She was the exception to the rule. Like, she gave herself an education despite what her father thought of her. So that's one thing I can give him. If there's one good thing I can give that man, is like he was very favorable to my education, and my father was very like, you're gonna be a doctor, right? Because that's what every African parents want from their kid. You're gonna be a doctor or whatever, but you're gonna be someone great. Like, he installed that in me. On the couple of days that I've seen him, he was very like, you have to. And I think one of the reasons why I've struggled with seeing myself as a submissive wife or as a housewife is because neither of my parents taught me to be a housewife. Like, my parents have never, and that's why it's so weird for me to kind of like move away from being career oriented to being like thinking about like being a housewife and cook. Like, yes, in like episodes I've told you about how they would be like, yes, you have to learn how to cook to be able to cook for your husband and everything. Like, those were like little comments that they made. But when I talk about like upbringing wise, my parents never taught me to depend on a man. They taught me to go to school. They made sure I had the best grades. It was never a question of whether or not I would go to college. Like, I don't think African kids have that luxury. And I know my Indian friends, my Asian friends know exactly where I'm going with this. Like, we don't have that luxury to take a year off to go think about who you want to be. Like, it is expected of you to know what the hell you want to be when you're 6. So when you tell your parents, like, you know that cute question that y'all ask kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? And then your kids said astronaut. They don't know what the hell astronaut is. They think it's cool because they saw it on TV. But with African parents, you said astronaut, they will make sure you end up being an astronaut. So be careful what you say to your parents. Like, So for me, my parents were like, you're going to do this. You're going to have a big house. You're going to have cars. You're going to travel. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to be like, being a wife and a mom was like at the end of the sentence, right? It was like way past that. But like in the sentence, it was like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna marry a president, you're gonna be like, you're gonna speak at this. And mind you, they bore a kid with a stuttering problem. Like, I grew up with a stuttering problem. So having your parents tell you that, especially a dad who's from a culture where girls are not even supposed to be that. Girls are not even supposed to be told that they're going to be presidents. They're not supposed to be told that, you're going to have a powerful status that is outside of being with a man. So if there's one thing I can say, something nice I can say about my dad would be that my education and installing in me to dream higher, to aim higher. And I think that's why I've always carried myself with a certain standard, because I've just like, I have been brought up to be a president. I've been brought up to be a wonderful doctor, a great man, like a man who's going to have a woman who's going to have a global presence, a global stage. So growing up, like, there was no room for fuckery, which is good, which is good. Like, me and my friend make this joke is that, oh, if I didn't grow up with morals, Lord, that would be a hoe right now. Right? Because that would be easy, Lord. That would be easy, right? But I can't because I did not grow up like that. So yeah, so my dad was very, that's the one thing that he was good at. But watching his relationship with my mother always conflicted me, because on one hand, he was such a protective father. Like, my father used to chase down boys who used to bully me over my stuttering issues. Like, literally, he would chase them down. Like, he would go to their parents, go at them and be like, to stay the hell away from me. Like, my dad was like boys were not supposed to talk to me. Like, you are not supposed to have, because they will ruin my chances of being that president, that great woman, that, that minister, that like secretary of state, So, so it was like he's very protective of me. But he was a cheater, he was a liar, he was violent. And in African cultures, in some African cultures, that's allowed. It's allowed for your man to correct you, right? In French, it's like, c'est ton mari, il doit te corriger, right? He's your husband. He has to correct you if your parents made a mistake. Like, it's up to your husband to correct, to re-educate you, some bullshit like that, right? So he was abusive, yeah. They used to, like, he used to beat my mom, right? So me seeing that was always like ironic, right? Because on one hand, you're so protective of me, and you don't want anything bad to happen to me because I'm supposed to be this great person, but you're beating on my mother. So it was all like, I'm seeing you with other girls. You're not respecting my mother in that way. So it was sort of like a very weird relationship. Like, internally for me, it was weird. Like, I never voiced it, but it was weird. So when we moved to the States, back to that point, when we moved to the States, it was just kind of like, so we have to learn to live with our dad 24/7. So the crap that we only used to witness on the weekend, we had to witness it every single day. Because Luba men, oh my God, they are funny. They are funny. They're very funny. I'm just gonna leave it there. They're very funny. If you dated a Congolese and you ever dated a Luba, you just know that that's a different type of headache. Like, there has not been a Tylenol that has been invented for that type of headache. So yeah, so being with my dad every day, we had to see him wear, bright colors, and we're like, God, why do you dress like that? And then it was funny because my dad did not speak English, but he would swear again. Luba man, very pompous. They think they know it all. We were in America for 2 weeks, and my dad thinks he knew all the English in the world to be able to go speak with our teachers and ask them how we're doing at school. And I'm like, dude, and which is sweet, some kids don't have that. It's sweet. But it was like, God, Lord, Dad, you do not know how to speak English. Please stop. Like, stop. Like, that Nigerian stuff that you're saying is not, like, the white people are not understanding you, Dad. Stop. But that didn't take long. My parents separated again. And like, when they separated, like, we did not, like, we only felt the pain of the action that my dad took towards that separation. But we did not feel the pain of the separation, right? Like I said, we never saw them together like that. We only saw my father like a couple of times a year and everything. So it was already weird to have him 24/7. And I don't think they knew each other very well to be living 24/7 because they have had such a distance relationship. So putting them together, I feel like the differences, plus the fact that my mother was working first, like she was making her money. This, like, my mother has always been financially independent. She has always been like the person who's working. We have seen her work. We have seen her make something out of nothing. So for her to do it like at an American scale, where back in Africa, maybe she may have made like $100 a month or something, but here she's making like, like $800 or $1,000, like that's a bigger scale, so that even made them like be in a weird situation. And now looking back, I just felt like for people who were not together physically, they were not in each other's lives every single day, to try to make it work here where they're like constantly in each other's throats, yeah, that was not gonna work out. So when they separated, we were fine because we were like, listen, this was weird for all of us. We are not used to seeing you every single day, and we're not used to you parenting us. Because, it's kind of weird when you have like that person you never see try to parent you and have like authority. Like, we've always been afraid of our mom because, like my mom was a disciplinary. Well, technically she was just disciplinary to me. And that's one thing that I've missed or that's something that not having my dad has affected me, in the sense of like, yes, my brother may have like not have like my dad around, that can affect him in a way, but my brother had my mother, and they always say like, moms will always stand for their sons. And for me, not having my dad all the time there was like, I never had that like daddy girl type of thing. Like, the times that I had it, it was only like for 24 hours or for 48 hours. Granted, like, I was the one able to go on vacations because my brother was younger, but to spend time with my dad, and those were liberating because, again, my mother was more disciplinatory towards me. I would get hit more than my brother. If my brother did something, it was going to be pinned on me. So, in that sense, yes, like, I wish my dad was around more because, like, I always felt like my brother had my mom and I didn't have anyone to go to. Because mothers and daughters' relationship is a bit different. It's different. Especially, like, with mothers and daughters, like, mother's job is to make sure that you don't end up on the pole or, a prostitute or whatever. So they go a little bit harder on you and everything. But with dad, there's a little bit of leniency, which I never really felt a lot of leniency with my mother. So I wish my dad was there to feel a bit more leniency. But besides that, when they separated, it was like, that's Gucci for us. That's Gucci for us. We're good. We good. We good. We good. But the stuff that hurt was the action that he took. So, we went to Canada with my mom, my brother, and I went to Canada to visit my my mother's cousin. And when we went there, when we came back, my father removed all of our belongings from the house, and we found that like he hasn't been paying rent, and so we were homeless. And to think that your father will purposely put his kids in a situation where you're homeless is, that hurts. That really hurts. I think it's different because in Africa, you still have family, right? If something like that were to happen, you know where to go. You have, you know where to go. You know who your people are because you lived there for a long time. You have a community. Doing that to us in America, where we don't have a lot of people, well, we don't have anybody, right? Our church members are new to us. We don't really know these people. This is just a couple of years, maybe 4 years since we came to the United States. That's still not enough time for maybe 2 or 3 years, because I remember I was in middle school when that happened. I believe I was either in the seventh, I was either in the sixth or the seventh grade. So that may have been like 2 or 3 years after we moved, and he allowed that to happen because as the breadwinner and as a Luba man, he was like, my mother should not work; she should be a housewife, and she became a housewife. She wasn't working, so he was the breadwinner. So for him to purposely not pay rent because he wanted to separate with my mother, so he allowed me and my brother to suffer that consequence. For me, that is that is like the most hateful thing a parent can ever do. Like, I understand you leaving, I understand that, but people think marriage is what keeps them together. Marriage do not. Your kids do, right? In a way, like in a sense of like, you and the person will always be connected to your kids, right? Because you're both sharing that person's blood. So regardless of how much you hate the mother, you have to understand that you have kids with that person. So for him to just ignore that and make us collateral damage, that's what hurt. That's what did hurt. So yeah, so my parents separated. We ended up homeless. We had to go stay with his friend because he didn't even have a place after that, and we had to see him parade even more girls around, and it was just a lack of consideration. And then a couple of months later, my mom found a place and she started working again. So we moved in with our mom. And we went back to the way things were before, where it was just me, my mother, and my brother. And life continued. And it was funny because my father would pop in and out with the same, like, authoritarian mentality of, like, he has the right over us. Like, he can tell us what to do or how to behave. And me and my brother didn't take it. And it was so funny because sometimes he would play the victim. And I don't know if you guys have this, but sometimes your parents will be like, you know what? I used to take care of you. Like, or I pay rent, I put a roof on your head. I put food on the table for you, blah, 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 blah. I kid you not, my dad will literally, like, when he's trying to play the victim, he will literally be like, yeah, I used to hold you in 1997. I'm like, yo, man, what do you want, a cookie? Like, I was there for you when you were a baby. Excuse me, can somebody tell him that's what he's supposed to be doing? Right? My dad will bring up stuff that he did for you in 1997. Like, it was just so funny. So for a couple of years, we did not really see him. Like, I still have not seen him. Like, I don't even remember the last time I saw him. And then 2 weeks ago, I go into a new job and I present myself. I introduce myself and I tell them my last name, and they were like, oh my God, we have a kid with that last name too. I'm like, excuse me? Like, yeah, we have a kid with that last name here. I'm like, okay. And they show me the kid. So, and then coincidentally, I had, like, because I'm helping with kids who need extra help with their educational activities and all that. And they had the kid come over. So I asked the kid his name. He tells me his name, and he told me he's 8. He's going to be 9 in November. I'm like, okay. I'm like, who's your dad? He gives me his dad's name. And then I was like, oh. In my head, I'm like, well, that's also my dad's name. And then I'm like, oh, do you have any siblings? He's like, yes. I have 2 sisters. So I'm thinking maybe my father told them about us, and that's why he's saying 2 sisters. But he's like, no, he has 2 sisters. One is 13 and one is 4. And I'm like, well, I'm not 13 and I'm not 4, so I'm guessing my father have other kids. So, and I was like, oh, okay. Then he started telling me about his life at home. They have a dog. Mind you, my dad has always been afraid of dogs. Like, my dad will literally cross the street without telling us that he's crossing the street because he's seen a dog from afar. Like, he will allow for us to get bitten by a dog than he. Right? So to find out, like, he has a dog now, he has kids, he's raising, and it's funny because the 13-year-old is not even his child, it's his wife's child. To be like, oh, he's raising someone else's kid, and he's not even talking to us, He and I don't have a relationship. He and my brother, they're cat and dog. Like, I swear, if my brother see my dad, they're gonna fight. Like, my brother is like, my brother is a little bit cuckoo in the head, so I'm sure my brother will fight him. So to find that out, when I first heard those things, well, as human beings, it stings a little bit, right? It stings. But I thought about it and I was like, for the sake of his life, for the sake of him trying to go to heaven, he better be good to that kid. His repentance for what he did to us should be in the way he is with his new kids. In my heart, with open heart, I don't hate those kids. I am hoping that they don't go through anything that we've been through. Because me and my brothers now, we are in our 20s. We're good. We had our mom. And she did good with us. She and therapy did good with us, to be honest. Sometimes African parents is like, oh, look at my daughter. She turned out fine. And I'm like, well, I've been in therapy for 10 years, so yeah. For the sake of his soul to sleep or to rest in peace one day, he has to do good by those kids. And I hope he's a great father to them. I want him to be a great father to them. Because looking at my life, thinking back, tomorrow I'm going to be 26, looking at my experiences, looking at the things that I've gone through, I don't know if I would have gone through some of them if he was around. And that's a good thing, actually. I am proud of the life that I have, regardless of how fucked up it is sometimes, regardless of how frustrated that I can be sometimes. But when I look at my life and I look from where I come from to where I am now, damn, God has blessed me. And I don't know if I would have had those blessings if he was around. So I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm healed. And I once told my therapist, and I told my therapist that I do not want to dump any trauma, regardless if it's from my dad or from my mom, on my partner or on the children I'm going to have. So I'm going to do my work. And I've done my work to be able to go through life in peace. Yes, I can get hurt by some things, but I do not want to be in a situation where I consciously or subconsciously make someone else pay for the mistake of somebody else. I don't want that. That's how I feel about my my half siblings. While I am at this job, I am feeling protective of this kid. He's very nice. Every time he sees me, he says hi to me. He tells me about his life at home. And it's nice to hear a kid having a good time, because I would hate to have another kid that grows up with trauma. I would really hate that. So I'm glad that they're having a nice time. I'm glad that they're having a father that we did not have. I'm glad to know that he's repented, I guess, right? I'm glad to hear that. And I hope that it works out for them. I really do. Because I'm okay with that. Because when I think about it, like I was telling my cousin this, I was like, I don't have, like, when I think about my future, I don't picture certain people in my life. And my dad is one of them. I don't. I do not picture my dad walking me down the aisle. And I don't want that. I cannot. I do not picture my dad playing with my kids. Ever. I do not. And I don't want that. Like, there's not a space in my life to put him. There's not. There's not. There hasn't been, like, there's not. I don't have daddy issue to the point of like, oh wait, I need him. No, I don't. I don't want him around. I don't. But I wish him well. Tomorrow's my 26th birthday. With open heart, I wish him well. I forgave him without him ever asking for forgiveness. Maybe he asked for forgiveness to God, but he never asked me to forgive him. He never asked my brother to forgive him. Never. He always came with that pompous attitude whenever we saw him. But I forgive him. I hope one day his soul rests in peace. And I hope that what he did not do for us, or what he did for us, that he doesn't repeat it with his new kids. Because everything happens for a reason. I would not be who I am. I would not have the confidence that I have. I would not be able to walk through this life the way that I walk in this life if he was around. I can thank him for installing the passion that I have. I can thank him for telling me to be greater than my circumstances, for telling me I can be president, for telling me I'm going to have a global presence. I can thank him for that. And I can say nice things about him because of that. But outside of that, I do not have anything against him. And I can sleep easy with that, y'all. I can honestly sleep easy with that. So, y'all, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I am very appreciative. It's very therapeutic to talk to you, and it's very therapeutic to know that you're listening. So yeah, this is gonna be the episode of today. Once again, thank you. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, y'all.